All right, bro. So Lamesatalks episode 4. How you doing, Abe?
Doing good, man. Excited. Um, I just had my baby girl a few days ago.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay.
Just had my baby girl a few days ago, so really excited. And shout out to the wife again for, being cool with me being out here right now. Just 'cause I should be taking care of our daughter, but she's cool with it. So appreciate my wife for that.
Yes. Shout
You
out
do
to the
the
wives. Same thing. I had to, find my babysitter really quick just to make this happen. But episode 4, bro, and I think we're already bringing a banger. I mean, the other episodes have already been like good, but I think today it's gonna be a banger. I
oh
would
for
say.
sure.
How's your weekend, bro?
Good man. Not I mean, like I said, just had a baby girl, so it's just been all about
Mm.
that. But I'm really excited for this episode as well, man. So you have the honors of introducing our
Absolutely, bro.
what do you say,
A special guest, I
special
would say.
guest, nuestro compita.
Nuestro compita for me. Um, it's a pleasure having this guy at La Mesa Talks today.
Mm,
To me, I think this man needs no introduction personally, just because I have, I guess, some closeness, I would say. But if I were to say or have an introduction, I would say one of the biggest sneaker stores in Phoenix, the biggest, I
for
would
sure.
say, and the go-to spot. I would say the most original out of all of them that I've seen, that I've experienced. So yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
What's up, guys? My name is Edgar, and I am the owner of Azthread. And I appreciate you guys
Sheesh.
for having me, man. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Since 2012, right? Or before?
Page, the Instagram page since 2012. Shop since October 1st of 2016.
Oh, okay,
Damn.
nice, man.
Yeah.
Been a
Hey,
while.
hey.
That's crazy, bro. So yeah, I mean, a few topics we wanted to touch on a little bit today is just kind of like healing that inner child in you, and a lot of like the way that we used to do things growing up, or the way that sometimes we run our businesses, or the way that we do things kind of resembles some of that trauma that we had. At least for me, for example, I had to learn a lot of like spending habits to fix that, because growing up there was a lot of things we didn't have. Like I didn't have the cool shoes. I didn't have like decent clothes. Like it was just a lot of the stuff was from the segunda. A lot of the stuff was hand me downs and stuff. And some of the ways that I had to learn now is like I gotta be responsible with my money and be smart, not just splurge because I'm trying to heal that inner child, like I mentioned, right? And I used to just blow my money, and I had to, like in high school, I had to learn like, okay, this is happening because I was raised, this way. So yeah, any other experiences that you have, Abe, with that?
I think when I was younger, like I remember when I was a youngster, man, like I don't know what the financial situation was. I think my parents did a good job of like not ever showing us that we didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think the sign was that I had shacks on, shacks and airwalks. I think they're airwalks.
Mm.
And I honestly I didn't know the difference
Wow.
until finally someone's like, "Yo, you got some shacks on." Like, but I mean, shout out to my parents for trying.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew anything about Jordans. Like, they're from Mexico. They didn't. I don't know if they knew anything about style.
Mm-hmm.
So they just whatever they could throw on my feet.
The,
But
the crazy part for me that my dad tells this story. Shout out to my dad. He's in Mexico now, but shout out to my dad. I know he watches. I remember he took me to Payless once, and this is where kind of my love for shoes, I guess, started. I was probably like 10 or 12 years old, and he was trying to get me to get the light up ones, and he was trying to get me to like try these on because they're cheaper. And I had already eyed a piece of like Nikes that I liked, a pair of Nikes that I liked. And I remember I was like, no, pa, because these don't have the flechita, like the little Nike sign. I was like, I don't want these because they don't have the flechita. And ever since then, my dad was like, dang, like you're gonna be into, you know, not expensive stuff, because I don't want to come off as like that kind of person, but I do like good stuff. And so ever since then, like my dad always reminds me that from time to time, and my mom too, because they're like, now that we see that you love shoes, and we see that you love like um just outfits and different stuff, it's crazy to see that since a kid, like you
mm,
had that. Is that a similar story to you, bro?
Man, I think mine was a little different. So like I'm first generation here. So like my whole family when we got here, we're all immigrants. And my
Mm.
parents used to go to Las Segundas a lot.
Mm.
But like I have fun going to them because
Yeah.
sometimes you'd find like Phoenix Suns jerseys. Sometimes you'd find like I remember going to like on 6th, 7th Indian School. There used to be a Salvation Army where they do the quinceañeras at,
Oh yeah.
and you go in there and find size 14, 15 Jordans and be like, damn, these are sick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And just like seeing like like magazines and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, I always had fun with it. You know what I mean? I didn't really know like, oh, this is like pre-owned stuff or like
Or
donation
vintage.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like,
Mm.
damn, this is Jordan, this is Bulls, Diamondback, stuff like that. So like, I didn't really like notice until I got a little older. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But now I think since day one, I had an older brother too.
Mm-hmm.
He's 5 years older than me. So like, when we got here, he was like 6, 7. So he was already into like the
Six,
Power
seven.
Rangers and Pokemons. And I was little, and as I got older, I started acknowledging the stuff he liked, so I kind of just jumped ship and stuff like that.
Mm.
So you actually went to Segundas, bro?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember most of the stuff that I had as a kid, whether it was a Jason Kidd jersey or like a polo, the rugbies with the
Mm-hmm.
with the collars and stuff like that, were all Segunda stuff. But we used to, my brother, because he was older, used to stay at the mall, Desert Sky, so we'd go to Dillard's and see like, damn, $85. And I don't know if you guys remember, but at Dillard's, like those polos would sit for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and they would get a natural fade. So when you
Damn.
would go to Segundas, they would look the same, just
Uh-huh.
like a lot cheaper. So like I couldn't tell
Mm.
the difference. You know what I
Dang,
mean?
Interesting.
That's
You know,
OG.
you,
You gotta be an OG to know that.
Yeah.
like when you see the polos, like the navy blue ones, they
Mhm.
look faded. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, they have a
So
little fade.
so when we would go to Segundas, we see the same ones. It's just another store. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And you guys are Mexican, bro?
Yeah, yeah. So my mom's from Durango, my dad's from Juarez.
Hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice,
But
that's
I was
cool.
brought over here when I was 1, so I'm like very Americanized.
Yeah. And what high school did you go to, bro?
I went to Cerro Lindo.
Sierra
You know what I
Leone.
mean? So I grew up on 67th and Roosevelt.
Hey.
We grew up going to Desert West Parks. At first we were skating,
Mm.
and then we got a little older, and then we got into basketball and stuff like
Skating.
that. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy. I would have never guessed that. Hitting some kick flips.
yeah, yeah. My older brother had a fro. Like we used to love P Rod. We used to see P Rod when he was on City
Hey.
Stars.
Yeah.
When he was 15, 16. Before like Nike SB and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. He was on S Girl Skateboard. So we were like, damn, we want to be like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, like he was our Kobe before Kobe was Kobe. You know what I mean? And,
That's a good little comparison there. Um, so Mr. Azthread, bro, like everybody sees, they see the fit, they see the social media, they see the storefront. I'm sure a lot of people admire like your who you are and what comes to the table. But where did that dream kind of start for you? Because it's not easy. A lot of people think like I'm pretty sure a lot of people hit your DMs and they're like, "Hey, bro, like I want to be a business owner. Hey, like I want to do this and that." But like they think it can happen overnight. Like how is it, bro, being a store owner?
Man, to be honest with you, man, to this day I don't even think like as a shop owner. I remember in high school wanting Jordans, and that's when Chucks were big and Vans were big. So before school started, Mom would be like $60. I'll get you a pair of shoes and a pair of jeans, and I would make the most of it, and I just accumulated a lot of clothes, and was meeting people off Craigslist and trading it, and I got my first pair of Jordans off one of my friends that I still talk to. Man, this is probably like 2009, 2010. And I traded a bunch of clothes for a pair, and then I traded that pair for two. And before you know, I was wearing new shoes every day to school, and people were like, "Damn, how many pairs of Jordans do you have?" You know what I mean? And I went to Sierra Leone at the time, was like a semi new school. You know what I mean? So people were they weren't accustomed to seeing threes, fours, fives, different ones every day. And it got to a point where people were all like, it got to my senior year, and people were like, "Man, how come you don't have a car?" I was like, "Yeah, man, show me a car that costs $150." You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't know that I was trading a lot of shoes and just accumulating stuff like that.
So it just started like by trades, just at school and or Craigslist. Sorry.
Yeah, Craigslist before like OfferUp and stuff like that. Yeah, and I was playing basketball, so when we had to pay for athletic fees or physicals
Yeah.
or basketball tournaments, because of club ball. I would sell a pair, sell two pairs, and be able to fund that. And I
Nice.
did that all the way through college. And once
Mm.
I was done playing basketball, I told myself, man, like, I wanted to live, a little bit more than average.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like working at Alhambra as a custodian, working at
Wow.
IHOP, and going to South Mountain Community College at the time.
Mm.
And I didn't have no days off. So I was like, man, I'm going to burn myself out before I hit, 24, 25. So I ended up quitting and, got to it. And like 6 months later, we opened Azthread.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's what's up, man.
I never knew that you did like maintenance work, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to get it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? At the time, you're young and you're trying to, find a job that has benefits and insurance and 401k and just
What they teach you
just
in
trying to
school?
work for the government and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I was working there for like a month and the pension was crazy. The pension was like half the check.
Dang.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, like, if I don't have a family, why do I need all this insurance and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that? And I was like, I'm straight on this.
That's crazy, bro. I would have
Yeah.
never guessed, that backstory.
Yeah. He's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
I think, you when people talk about like all these hustlers, like they're not even hustlers no more, right? They're like billionaires and all that. There's always that mindset. What do you think is the difference between, well, not difference, but what's something that you think like every business owner or like entrepreneur, what's something similar that they have in order for their business to succeed? Like that one factor.
I think is the love for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like basketball, the same way Jordan and Kobe and LeBron, are into it the same way Tiger Woods is, into golf. I think, people generally enjoy it.
Mm.
And I think that's what, it just comes naturally. Yes, of course you could force it a little bit or you know what I mean, you can overwork and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like if you stay consistent and it comes naturally, it tends to, stay afloat and seems a little bit a little easier than having to go work somewhere where you're getting paid a lot but you're just not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can remember that's kind of why I left the bank last May. I'm just gonna focus on my business, photography, videography, just because I was tired of the rat race, like trying to chase a promotion and my promotion being in someone else's hands. I was like, no, I can go and get it myself. You know what I mean? And that kind of like, I guess, begs the question for me, like with you, like how was your upbringing, bro? Because at least for me, like one memory that I can never shake, and I tell my friends and family, I grew up on 51st and Thomas, and I remember when my parents split up. One memory that I can never forget is my dad left, and he left us in a house that had no electricity, and so there was no power, there was no food, nothing. I was small. I was probably like 8, 9 years old. But I just remember vividly that there was no light and we were lighting everything with a candle. And one of our neighbors noticed, obviously, because we weren't outside playing or nothing. So she ran an extension from her house. She was the corner
Yeah, that's
house
tight.
all the way to our house to help us just cook and stuff. And then our neighbor had chickens, so he would give us eggs. And I always told myself, like, made a promise to myself that my family would never go through that, but also that, like you said, I would live a little bit above to where, like, I could also help somebody like that. How we received the help. So, growing up, bro, I mean, what made you into to who you are today, bro?
um well, I grew up with both parents, and I grew up in the church,
Hey.
and I grew up like the very stereotypic Spanish church where it's very judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
So everything had to be in line,
Yeah.
and every outlook had to be presentable. And stuff that happened at home couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I live my life. I show people obviously stuff that it's gonna help my business, marketing, stuff like that, and then all my personal stuff. I keep it personal. If you know me, you know. And if you don't, you know
Then
what
you
I mean. You just have an
don't.
outlook, and I think a lot of the times I get misunderstood. A lot of people look at me, if, like I'm cocky or something like that, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't know like, I'm from the trailer park on 67th and Van Buren. Like, you know, I don't know how to act sometimes. I don't, and it's crazy because I still drive. My mom still lives, not in the trailer park, but a house in that neighborhood where I grew up at. and I still see people that I went to school and they're, you know what I mean, out and about, and it's just like, damn, like, I remember, getting in trouble in class and teachers telling me like, oh man, you're not gonna do nothing, or you're not gonna make it in high school, and just to be like, damn, it's crazy, coming from that, and being able to, help my family, and
Mm-hmm.
go see, parts of the world where, coming to Arizona, I didn't know I was ever gonna be able to leave the country and stuff like that. But no, it's time, man. It's it's a blessing, and I always tell people when they ask me about business, like, man, you should do it. Jump into it, man. You just don't ever know. You might change, the your family's, life. Not only your immediate family, but your outside family, and
Mm-hmm.
you might inspire the kid that is from the same area as you, and they see you, and they might make a
Yeah.
difference, and keep it going like that.
You said something that I kind of want to highlight when you said you're misunderstood. What would you say, bro? Like to the haters, I'm sure you get a lot of hate. So like, how do you respond to that? Because as I can imagine, being in shoes, being in a lot, I see you have a lot of vintage. So I feel like that naturally brings a lot of people who just want to hate on you, on your brand in general. So kind of how do you deal with that, bro?
Man, to be honest with you, I just think it's a mirror of themselves.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I think when people have this opinion about me, it's because they feel a certain way about themselves. You
mm,
know what I mean? For me, I'm genuinely happy when people get to accomplish something, or somebody buys a car, or somebody buys a lot of land, and it's like, hell yeah, that's tight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's gonna get me to be like, damn, I'm seeing somebody else do it. That means, it's, me giving me a visual to see it. But yeah, I think it's just a mirror of themselves, and I think a lot of people have so much free time to be very opinionated, when it's like, nah, I think we all got a little bit more work to do. And
yeah.
I say, whole humbly, respectfully, you know what I mean, and I just keep it pushing like that.
Hmm. What did you want to be, bro, when you were a kid? Do you remember?
I want to be a math teacher, man.
A math teacher?
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
okay.
really good with numbers. And yeah, and it's crazy. Like, my math teachers, all of them that I had, they were all into basketball. Some of them were into like shoes, not like how it is now, but
Mm,
they would wear a pair of Barclays.
mm,
They would tell me, "Oh, did you watch Steve Nash and Amari yesterday?" So it was like, most of them were guys,
yeah.
and they're down to earth, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to be, a math teacher.
That's crazy. I remember I wanted to be a doctor. Probably cliche, but I wanted to be a doctor.
When you said that, it just made me think of back in the day when like Mari did a dunk. Maris Stoudemire, like. But that's cool though, man. Just hearing you talk, man. I hear the humility you have in you,
Hmm.
and I know that it's also from maybe the way your parents raised you, like be humble, but know who you are. That's
Yeah.
what I get from you is like, yeah, like like you don't think you're better than nobody, but you're not less than nobody either.
Hmm.
That's the energy I get from you, and
Which is good.
which yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good thing. And obviously, so I want to get into this question. There's a lot of competition in Arizona. I think you're one of the OGs for sure. Um, I remember hearing about Azthread before any other
Hmm.
bigger names came through.
Yeah.
Um, but you being like an OG, do you think the market's oversaturated, or do you think like it's balanced right now?
From outside looking in, from like the people that got into the sneakers when it was like a trendy thing to do, I think for
Hmm.
them it's a little oversaturated. But I think for somebody that has the real love for sneakers, I think it's well balanced. I think the market, for somebody that wears sneakers, is definitely way bigger than it was, when I first started.
Oh
Back
yeah.
then, if you listen to like hip hop, you like football or basketball or skateboarding at that, you're into sneakers. Now it's like teachers, news reporters, TikTokers. So like
Yeah.
the margin is way bigger. The market is way bigger. So if I have something and somebody that's into that stuff, doesn't want it, somebody else may want it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I've met a lot of
Yeah.
people that are dentists, that are lawyers, that wouldn't even can't wear Jordans, for the practices, but when they're not at
Yeah.
work, you know what I mean, they're wearing that kind of stuff. So I think it's like the market is way bigger.
Yeah.
And then back then, like when they would drop a shoe and it was like 100,000 pairs, it
Yeah.
was like so much.
Uh-huh.
Now, you know, for every hot release, they're dropping 1 million pairs, and it seems like
Yeah.
there's still not enough. So,
Mhm.
no, I think it's, you know, well balanced.
Well, I think you appreciate that new people. There's more people tapping into the shoe game now.
Mhm.
That's a good thing. Some people, I feel like there's that judgmental aspect where they're like, you weren't into shoes back in the day. Now you are. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like,
Nah.
if anything, it's good for businesses. More people are tapping into shoes, buying shoes that they might not have ever bought before, but
Mhm.
you know, there's a trend now. Obviously, you know, we've seen trends where it's blown up, like the pandas, how popular they got, and then people started saying like, oh, like those shoes are lame or whatever. But someone like you who's appreciative of all the shoes that come out, whether they're the coolest or maybe not the the dopest shoe, maybe like for example the twos. Not a lot of people are like
Into it.
into those, right?
Yeah.
I think you would be maybe like because you appreciate the shoes no matter what they are. What would you tell those people like that are judgmental about people who are getting into the game?
I think you gotta buy what you like.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you like twos, buy twos. If you like threes, buy threes. If you're into running shoes, get the A6. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Don't buy something because it's expensive and, you know, try to sell it. Because that's what a lot of people, you know, they buy something, you know, for resale and then they'll bring it to us. And, you know, man, you know, they go for this online, but locally, you know, we don't have too many people lining up for a 13 or a 7. You know, we still take them in, but, you know, I would tell people, yeah, just buy what you like. That way you don't, you know, really
Yeah,
worried about what
I like
other
that.
people think.
Yeah. As a store owner, bro, what's the hardest thing that you face, bro? Like, I guess you could say, just the hardest challenge that you receive as a store owner.
The hardest challenge, well, right now, because I got kids, so it's hard to like leave my kids and go to work.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And as a business owner, you know, you tend to work 24/7
Mhm.
instead of like, you know, a typical 9 to 5. So for me, it's like leaving my babies at the house and going to work, and you know, me being at work and not being as busy as, you know, as it was before, and being like, damn, like, you know, I could have took this out today and been with my kids and been playing Legos or watching cars and, you know, eating, you know what I mean? So that's for me, that's the difficult part at the moment right now.
That's good.
And I mean, you're in a prime location, bro, Central and downtown Phoenix. I'm assuming you get a lot of people coming in and out of the store. Who would you say is like, I guess, a big name that you see or has come into the store in the past?
Let me see. There's a lot of people that come in, because I'm tapped into what I do. I don't know everybody.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember a lot of the Suns players came in. PJ Tucker, Jay Crowder,
Tucker, that's
DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges,
Hey,
Davion Reed. I get DMs. Like the latest one I got was from Colin Gillespie. You know, he's balling out right now. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Hey man, throw this Warren Lotus shirt in the back. Like, I'm gonna come pick it up and stuff like that."
hey.
He hit me up, and then like the next week, like, you know, he started, you know, playing a lot, and I'm like, he's probably too busy. He's, you know, locked in, but I still have it in the back. You know, he's,
Yeah.
you know, probably gonna come through whenever he has a chance. But man, there's a artists too. Pierre Booms came in. I think a rapper named Little Mosey came in. 6ix9ine came in.
Oh yeah.
That was before, like, you know, he had beef with everybody. Like when the Gummo song came out. It's crazy because he had a concert here, and I had messaged him like, "Hey, pull up to the shop," and you know, he pulled up, you know, and you know, it was all cool vibes and stuff like that. But that was like maybe like 2018, 2017.
And how does all that work, bro? Like, do you obviously, I'm sure, just knowing you and that you're a kind person, like, I'm sure you throw in, you know, maybe a little extra or something, but are a lot of these people like paying for the stuff that
No,
they get?
yeah, no, we treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I got people that mess with me that I'm gonna see, you know, the following week, if not a couple days. These people I'm not probably gonna see ever again unless I'm, at a concert, at a
Yeah.
basketball game. Um, but yeah, I treat everybody the same. I much rather give a discount to somebody that it's been coming to me consistently than to somebody that will come once or twice to the shop. But if it's like somebody I mess with and somebody that like DeAndre Ayton came, and I gave him a '93 finals jacket, the warm up,
Jeez.
and then he had a photo shoot, a vintage like a throwback Suns, and he was wearing it. You know what I mean? It was
Oh,
tight.
yeah, that's
And he
dope.
gave me a jersey sign, and it said, "Oh, Valley Boys." That's when the Valley Boys thing
Yeah.
started. That's before he got traded. But just stuff like that. If it's somebody I mess with, and I appreciate you, then oh, like PJ Tucker too. When he was playing here, the Redskins were playing the Cardinals, and he's a
Mhm.
Redskins fan. So we had a satin Redskin jacket. We just threw it to him, and you know what I mean. Just little stuff like that, where it's like, I know he's gonna keep this.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
That's dope. Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Meeting all these people and they're just coming into the shop. Because you always see, like, I mean, now, I feel like back then people had, like, were focused on retros and stuff. But now, with it being so diverse, people wanting different kind of dunks or different kind of, or even Booker's shoes or different, like, stuff like that. So it's cool to see that, people are coming by the shop and all kinds of and sorts of people. I mean, I've been there a few times myself and it's cool. You see the walls and all full of different kinds of shoes and stuff like that. So that's cool, bro.
Yeah, especially PJ Tucker. I know he's a shoe head himself. Was it? Were you able to like chop it up with him, or was it kind of like a quick little transaction?
Nah, he came in and he was mad cool. And at the time, he took a box logo, the white and red one.
Oh,
XL. I think we sold it to him for like maybe like $800 at the time.
nice.
But man, back then that's a white red box logo. Like that was a T-shirt to have.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, he
Must
was
have.
cool. He checked it out. I think the following year, I think he got traded.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. Situations happen. I was really cool with like Jay Crowder and his manager. And when they needed something,
Nice.
I'll shoot it to him, and I actually sold some shoes for him a couple times. So it's pretty
Hey.
cool. And then they get traded, and they people start relationships somewhere else, and keep it pushing. But no, it's tight.
Have you had the chance to meet Booker or like sell him some shoes or anything?
No, but I remember during the finals run, one of my friends approached me and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna sell a bunch of stuff to Booker. Give us a bag full of stuff." And um, we he took maybe like 4 or 5 shirts. The transaction took like 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and the payment took another 4 weeks. And then we are missing a T-shirt, and so I'm like, I'm straight. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
no, yeah, some of the shirts. Actually, his photographer, I ran into him, and he was like, "Hey, man, I got some of these pictures. They were going through the shirts, and somebody had asked him like, "Oh, where'd you get all these T-shirts from?" And one of his homies like, "Oh, these are Azthreads," and he has those
Nice.
pictures, but he has signed NDA, so he can't give them to me yet.
Mm.
But once the contract's over, I'll start posting them and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Where did the name AZ Thread come from, bro?
So a lot of people think thread comes from clothes,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, which I can see, but thread is like coming together in Arizona. It's like coming together in Arizona, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of people say, "Oh, AZ Threads like a clothes and pieces and stuff like that," but it's actually like bringing Arizona together.
Hey, that's
You know
cool.
what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
never would
pretty
have
cool.
thought that.
No, nobody's ever heard this, and it's never been anywhere. I never posted it, but that's always been the motto from the beginning. It's like I'm gonna meet a bunch of people through this journey, and I'm gonna connect friends, and it's just Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, the question's probably a little obvious, but did you ever, like, imagine to be where you are, like, today?
No, man. To be honest with you, when we first opened, it was like a pop up. We just found a space for rent on Facebook Marketplace for $700. We booked in. We were paying month to month, and the month before, a week before we opened, we had a rent. We had spent all our money, so we threw a big yard sale.
That's crazy.
A week before, we threw a big yard sale in the front, and we made rent and we had money to buy at opening day. And the opening day, we had like 100 people lined up. So from then we haven't looked back, but
Nice.
and there's been little like inconveniences, that's happened in the businesses that that we have to take a step back. We learn from it, and then we're able to take 2 steps forward and just keep it pushing. And it's been a learning process and as we go.
I know every business is a little different. Like I'm in landscaping, he's in videography. The service business relatively the same. Like you're selling, but like in your line of work, man. Like, is this something? You have to hustle daily where you need to sell a bunch of shoes or you need to buy? Because they say whenever you're buying shoes off somebody, you make your money at the purchase and not at the sale, right? It's when you first buy it, so you got to buy it low. But is that tough to like constantly be like, reselling and all that, or is I don't know if I
Yeah.
asked it correctly, but
So in the beginning, it was we're all in. You know, 500 bucks. All right. It doesn't accumulate to a lot. You know what I mean? All right, we made $250. We're spending all. There's one time the Guess ASAP release came out at Fashion Square at the Guess store. I think we had maybe like $3,500 to our name, and we went over there and spent it all. That same day, we did not sell not one piece.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And these T-shirts were like $80. You know what I mean? $90. So we had a whole rack of just ASAP stuff. It was like the striped Guess shirts, the crop tops, the dresses. You know what I mean? But it was tight. And we had it and we marked it up a little bit. None of it sold for a little bit, and then round two in Hollywood, started selling them at 180, 220. So we marked them up and people started buying them, and just being patient. We took an investment that we didn't think we were gonna make our money back, but we actually made double the profit if for us waiting a little longer. You know what I mean? But yeah, to your question is, nowadays we have to be well balanced. We can have too much inventory with no money, and then we can't have all money with no inventory. So it's like, it's just balancing out every day and stuff like that.
Cause I've been watching like the story sales that you guys post, and I feel like everything's like really competitively like priced. It makes me like want to run to the store immediately, because I'm like, dang, like there's a lot of retros that like a few years back were going for a lot that now, like the Jordan 1, I feel like took a big hit. So
yeah, we do that on purpose though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that on purpose. For us is it's important to have cash flow. And if we have stuff that sits, 2-3 weeks, we'll mark it down and we'll get rid of it. And that's why we're always getting new inventory in. You know what I mean? But no, I like shoes. I like seeing what comes in, and for us, it's important to have money to buy, just because it keeps people walking through the door and stuff like that.
What's the rarest piece of or rarest pair of shoes you've ever seen, bro?
Probably back in Glendale, somebody sold us a pair of Red Octobers.
Yeah.
And I think he sold to us for like $1,700, which back in 2016 is a lot of money, bro. Yeah. And that's when we opened. I remember I took him to Las Vegas, and we sold them for like $3,600. And $3,600 in 2016, it's like a car.
Yeah, it was a lot.
You know what I mean? So, Red October. I found a pair of baby 85 Chicago ones, the original ones, on offer up for like $250. And when my first son was born, he took newborn pictures wearing them. Dang. And then he had like the baby champion jersey. Those are rare. I think the only person I've ever seen those with was Stormy, Travis Scott.
His daughter?
Yeah, on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, he gifted Kylie a pair of those. And that was at like around the same time where I found them. I'm like, all right, see, it's all right. It's cool. You know what I mean?
He's like, we're right there.
But
that's crazy. Yeah.
What's something that people don't know about the shoe game that they should know about?
Man, it's money, man. It's money. Yeah, every time, police officers come into the shop and they're looking for, stolen stuff, or if we seen this person or whatever, and I ask them, like, why is it so hot? You know what I mean? Why are Jordans like, and they're like, it's because the shoes are money. You know what I mean? Sometimes you buy them and you make money. Sometimes you buy them and you lose money, but, you're always going to get, some kind of money off of it. So, yeah, Jordans, speaks volume and stuff like that.
Did you hear, like, all that stuff happening with Cool Kicks and all that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because at least for me, a lot of the like Travis's and a lot of the hype stuff, it's harder to get, and you always hear about people getting like backdoored, pairs before everybody else, and I feel like that to your typical consumer, like it kind of pisses you off because you're like, bro, like I want to secure a pair. It's already hard enough on his website to hit in general, but with them like having a lot of like stolen merch as a store owner, like, what are your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, if you don't know it's stolen, free for all. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that's different. Yeah.
It's the part where it's stolen. I remember during COVID, people were bringing in a bunch of crazy pairs, and they were telling me, "Oh, this is," and I can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But if somebody comes in and hey, I got these pairs of shoes, I just need some money, then it's all game. But most of the time, when you're coming in with bag full of shoes or big bins, and you're getting them to for cents on the dollar, you just gotta do right, and you gotta protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know
That's
what I
how
mean?
those are the signs that you're able to tell is like they'll bring in a lot and they just want like $50 a pair.
Yeah, or they'll come in and it's a 5'9" guy and it's a bunch of 13s, or you know what I mean? It's just like, all right, where'd you get these from? Or like even when girls come in and they bring shoes that are men's sizes. Oh, whose are these? Oh, these are my brothers or my boyfriends. Oh, we can't take them. Like, they apologize, but I don't. It's a risk.
It's a
You know what I
bad
mean?
breakup,
Yeah.
huh?
So you have
Who got
said,
in trouble?
yeah,
Who got in trouble?
Selling their shoes.
you have said no, bro, to people.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? I much rather keep my money than buy something and be on the fence about. You know what I mean? That's why we do a lot of GR. I don't know if you noticed, but we do some of the Travis, some of the Off White stuff, but for the most part, we do more GR just because it's a general market.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather.
No, you're good, bro. What's the most you've ever spent, bro, on a shoe?
On a shoe,
Yeah.
like personal for the shop.
Let's do both.
Personal. All right. During COVID, probably the Off White Chicago for like $3,500.
Nice.
At the time, it was good though.
Yeah.
And then obviously when he passed,
It went
they
up.
hit. You know what I mean. But I didn't get rid of them. You know what I
still
mean?
have
Like
'em?
yeah. I wore them maybe 2 weeks ago to dinner with my girl. You know what I mean? It's in Chicago. Plus, it's Off White. They're not gonna come out again. You know what I mean? And that era. If you think about it, that Off White Chicago is, in the same boat as like a Red October. Obviously, the values aren't there yet, but, in the same category. For the shop, I want to say maybe like a cactus plant, like the Friends and Family, the green one. Then we got it for like, maybe like 4,000, and it was going for like 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bought that. Went to Vegas. I took it to On the Arm. Hey man, I just want store credit. I just want a bunch of shoes. I think he gave me like 9,500 store credit.
Dang.
And then I was able to open Easy Thread those next to the shop with all the merchandise that I got from that shoe.
Dang. One shoe.
Nice. That's good, bro. I feel like I'm not in that business. I feel like I would have took the cash. But
He's like, that's why you're not in the business.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm not in the shoe game. I respects you, man. I think the way you go about business is very smart because I'm thinking I'm okay. Like this, someone comes and sells me shoes. I'm not gonna say no to nobody, right? Like you want to make the money, but in the long run, like what if, like you said, the police officers come into your shop sometimes asking about shoes or whatever. If you bought the shoes, right? Like what if they confiscate it for whatever reason, you're out on that money, right? So like, I mean, you've been smart about that, like not just taking any deal, even though if it seems like a good deal, but in the long run, they might bite you in the butt, right? So to that, I wanted to ask, like, do police officers come in there like confiscating stuff from you, like if they know it's stolen?
Nah, we had not recently, but like in the past years, we had people come in, cause at the time, there wasn't no other shops.
Mm-hmm.
So it was only our shop. So it'd be like, okay, you know what I mean, and people would come in and, oh, I'm looking for these shoes or so and so, and obviously we don't know nothing, you know what I mean, but You know, and on top of that too, the police officers know it's a business. You know, they're not gonna come in and look on the wall and you know what I mean.
Fingerprint the whole thing.
You know, because if you look at the shop, you go to the store, you're gonna be like, damn, that's a lot of shoes. You know what I mean? But no, they come in, they ask, and a lot of the there's a lot of resellers were cops. You know what I mean? A lot of the resale pages were police officers.
Oh damn.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And just kind of the like back to where we're talking about the market is big now. Back then it was art, hip hop rappers, ball players, skaters. Now it's police officers. At one time reselling. You know what I mean? And just keep it cool, everybody, respectful, and
Who would you say is the GOAT of like the shoe game? There's obviously I forgot his name, but his name's Wang, and then there's also Kenny
G.
Kenny Gonzalez. Like, would you say that one of them is like the GOAT of like the shoe game?
Yeah, the perfect pair.
Oh,
Like, who would you say has the best collection?
Well, the Jordan athletes are like, I come in the era. I'm from an era where like Ray Allen was getting all gold 11s when he was winning championships with the Celtics and the Heat, and they're giving them every shoe in gold, every shoe in green, every shoe in black and red. I think when he went to the Hall of Fame, they gave him all gold 1 through 20, I think, or 1 through 14,
something like that.
So I think Ray Allen, and then you got like Mike Bibby. The Jordan athletes, are like, it's unfair.
Yeah,
you know
they're pampered.
I mean? Yeah, like, who else? Quinn Richardson. Yeah, the Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul. If you Google some of the PEs, you see like, dang, like Chris Paul had like blue and red and white Jordan 11s, and they were playing in them. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think the Jordan athletes for sure.
And then after the Jordan athletes, like for example, I see the perfect pair, and to me, there's nobody that can really beat him.
I feel like it's
did you see the Fat Joe like clip and all that?
It's just like, for me, you gotta be able to dress, and I'm not saying they don't know how to dress.
Oh, okay,
but they're not. People aren't being like, oh, I want to be like that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Same thing with like the DJ Khaled 5s. Like, it's a good shoe, but because it's DJ Khaled, like I think I'm good. You know what I mean? But I would definitely like from head to toe. Obviously you got to throw Travis, ASAP, Kanye West. You know what I mean? People like that.
If let's just say you could do a collab with the NBA player, bro, who would it be?
NBA player?
Yeah. Like, you're going to make the shoe with them, and it's going to be you two that sponsor it and everything, design
And
it.
I could pick the brand?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody
No Under Armour, though.
I would probably be Anthony Edwards, man. Yeah, I think Anthony Edwards right now.
MVP.
Yeah. I think the finesse game he has, the way he can attack, the way he jumps, the way he shoots now, it's kind of like a Kobe, Jordan, Iverson type of player. I think someone like Luka would also be cool because they're wearing Laker uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
I would stay away from like LeBron.
Who's your go, bro?
Kobe, for sure.
Kobe?
Yeah.
Over Jordan and LeBron?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really get to see Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And then LeBron James, before he went to Miami, was on his way. But I feel like that whole teaming up and leaving and coming back, and you even see him now, like, the finesse is not really there. You know what I mean? And then Kobe, like, if you look at him, if you were to see him out, he's a regular guy, 6'4", super skinny. You see LeBron James, this dude's like a monster. You know what I mean? But I think Kobe. Yeah. I have like super debates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got debates for that.
I like that. I think Kobe would be mine too. I like LeBron too. I didn't get to watch Michael Jordan, so it's kind of hard to say that too. And I think if you compare the eras, I've seen some videos where some of these players, the way they would play, I'm like, yeah, that's not athletic at all, man. The competition's not the same. And I've seen some goofy, some goofy shots, some goofy plays. I'm like, nah, you can't compare that, man. We got to see the highlight of the best, so we think that everybody was like on their game like that, but it was only a few that would ball like that, you know.
And I think Kobe played in the best era of basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got Iverson, T-Mac, Nowinski,
T-Mac.
Garnett, Duncan, Shaq,
Yeah,
Dwayne Wade,
Nash,
LeBron,
yeah.
Steve Nash. You know what I mean?
a lot of ballers.
Jason Kidd. You know, not they were small, but they were also big too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think LeBron's era. You know, in the beginning, you know, he was playing the same era, but I think right now it's a little watered down. And then, like you said, Jordan in the '90s. You know,
It was really just Jordan.
you know. And don't get me wrong, there was bigs in the '90s, but you know there wasn't a lot of guards. You know what I mean? Like, I think the best point guard in the '90s was maybe John Stockton. John Stockton today, you know, like a JJ Redick type. You know what I
Different
mean?
game. Yeah.
You know,
Are you into other sports too, or just basketball?
just basketball.
Yeah, no soccer.
I can't, man. It's too broad for me. A little bit of football, a little bit, and then a little bit of baseball. You know what I mean? I think Otani is like awesome. You know, I love watching Otani.
I've been observing you a lot, bro. In a good way, obviously, just because I see like your lifestyle, and I'm like, man, like, I think you're someone to look up to. But I also been noticing that like there's something interesting about all of us, right? We're business owners, and I've been noticing that you've been doing marathons, bro. Like, what is that about?
Going back to me playing basketball, in middle school, my basketball coach used to make us run cross country before basketball season because he was a cross country coach.
Yeah.
So it would get us in shape. And my first time coming out to playing basketball in middle school in seventh grade, I ended up playing on the eighth grade team. And it helped me out tremendously. And then from eighth grade, I did the same thing. And by the time my second year of playing organized basketball, I was already thinking like, oh, I'm gonna play varsity basketball in high school. So that started then. Freshman year, conditioning 24/7. You know, I used to run miles in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it got to a point where, you know, I was done with basketball, played in high school, played in college, you know, obviously opened up my business. And I just wanted to do something active. We put on weight since we were teenagers. The lifestyle of being a business owner, you know, you're on the go, you're eating, you know, a lot of, you know, food that's probably not the best for you. You know, you're doing social gatherings and you're intaking, you know, a lot of stuff. And I wanted to do something bare minimum. And the only thing I like to do is run. Weight room, you know, it's not as like full throttle
Satisfying.
for me.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, being sore.
You're not a fan of that?
Not that kind of sore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I started running literally right here. Now they're running Kobe's, like Grinches and stuff. And now, you know, started out from my house to, you know, the main street and running back. And at first it was like hard. And I would tell my fiance, like, man, I can't run no more. There's no way I can't run no more. Like, I'm about to be 30. Like, you know, there's no way I can't move. And just little by little, running a mile here, 2 miles there. And one of my friends was like, hey, I seen that you're running. Like, hey, come run with us. And this was like a year after I was into running. So I had to run maybe like 500 miles back in, excuse me, maybe like 2024. And then 2025, you know, we were training. We were running like 13, 14 miles. And
Damn.
I was nervous, but, you know, my girl would tell me, like, you can do it, like, the way you think. You know, I don't know why you're second guessing yourself. Like, you know, anything you put your mind to, you're able to do. And, pardon me. I ran 13 miles one time, and I ended up going to church after. And I was, you know, uh, moving the whole time. I'm like, why are you so fidgety? Like, oh, I don't want to get stiff. You know, I woke up the next day and it's fine. Wow, pardon me.
No, you're good, bro.
And what up? Yeah, I was fidgeting all day. I mean, all church, and I didn't want to get stiff, and just little by little, and I did a half marathon in Tucson, all hills,
Dang.
Damn. Okay.
all hills, and it kicked my butt. And then I played in the Avondale League, and I was playing like a week before the marathon. I pulled a strain of my calf, and like 4 days prior to the marathon, I would run to the main street and I would feel it. And I'm like, there's no way I did all this training and I'm not gonna run.
Right.
Damn.
So I would do like shake off runs. I would run, till the day before. I told my girl like, I'm gonna go my hardest. I'm gonna be very, very efficient with every step I take, and I'm not worried about a time. I just want to finish. And I'm like, if I do, 10:30, 11-minute pace, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just to get under my belt. I'm running. The first mile was 9:08. The second mile was like 9:06. And the first 18 miles I'm like 9:08 minute pace. Then I'm like sub 4 hours. You know what I mean? And I kept telling myself like, hey, the marathon doesn't start till after mile 20.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've done 13, 18, 20 miles. I've never done, 24, 25, 26. I get to mile 22, start cramping up. Every time, every step I take, I feel my muscles like,
Tightening up.
yeah, my feet are hurting. Keep going. And then we started in Deer Valley, and then we ran through, the whole Metro Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down 24th Street in Camelback, right there in front of Billmore. And the whole time I'm running, I'm like, oh, I know this. This is me. I drove through here, ate there, got in a fight there, met up and bought some jerseys here. So it's like it's home. So it's like, and there's every part of the marathon is like a little story. I seen a little bearing like from a skateboard. Damn, that's like my brother. Like,
Damn,
you know what I mean? So just little stuff like that. Then I had dinner right there with my fiance. I run by, the Rafi Law Group's office. Oh man, I do, work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I run down 40th Street in Thomas. And I'm like, oh, I live right there. So it was like home.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 2 miles was on 50th Street in McDowell by the mountains by Papago Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The hill.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So I'm running up. I caught a cramp, and I look at my calf, and it's like the size of a baseball.
Oh,
and I'm freaking out. Like, there's no way I'm not gonna make it. You know what I mean? If I'm not making it here, I'm never gonna sign up again. And one of my running mates that I run in the run group with, he's like, "Hey man, just put your toes up." Put my toes up. Walked for like half a mile, and I seen some guy that was walking mile like 18, and I told him, "Nah, come on, let's go." And he was running. He said, "Nah, come on, let's go."
Dang.
And I ended up finishing in. I ended up doing 4.5 hours, but just to say I ran a marathon, it's like
26 miles, right?
Yeah, 20. Yeah,
In
It's an accomplishment, man.
and we started from Deer Valley, and we ended up right there, right by, pretty much by Scottsdale.
So would you say it's a mental thing? Because a lot of people, I don't know why, but a lot of people are getting into running now, which is good. I think as a business owner, you may agree, like health is wealth, like they say, and it's important to take care of you. Because at least on my job, like photography and videography, when I do weddings and stuff, like it's important for me to be healthy and to be good and to show up and all that. So would you say, like for the people that are trying to get into it, like it's mainly mental?
Yeah, for sure. The physical stuff, man, that's out the window, man. Yeah, I remember like mile 20th, I started seeing people just fall.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, you see people yelling, ambulances, like people like, you know what I mean, like passing out. People being emotional, like yelling.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And like, when you play Call of Duty and they shoot you and it turns red.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's how it feels.
That's how I felt.
You know what I mean? And the only thing you can tell yourself is like,
Keep going.
it is mental. The physical stuff, You know what I mean? Obviously, you train and prepare for that stuff, but when it's go time, it's all mental.
Hey, man.
What made you get into it, bro? Just like your homies?
Just doing bare minimum. You know,
Yeah.
at first it was 1-2 miles, and then, you know, I'm very competitive. So we were running by the canal in Phoenix. You know, we'd do 6 miles, and it's like, you know, the people that put the run group together were running, and I can run with them. You know, they're runners. I'm gonna show you. You know what I mean? And just little. I'm not like I'm just an average runner. I'm not like a professional runner. Like I care about times. As long as I do it respectfully. You know what I mean? And I can. You know, I ran a half a marathon Saturday, and my pace was 8:30, and that's phenomenal. You know what I mean? For me, you know, give and take like 13 miles, like just to say I could run 13 miles, you know, but yeah, it's just
That's
my
crazy.
competitive nature, you know.
Yeah, my sister-in-law for her birthday, she wanted to make everybody run, and I was like, bro, I've never run anything close to a marathon, and she's like, yeah, just pull up, you get a medal and you get like a little goodie bag
The
or whatever.
marathon?
Yeah, but not like a full one. We only did like a 5K, which is 3 miles, I guess. And I was like, well, I guess this is where like a good place to see where I'm at, you know. And so I didn't really prepare at all. Like I just kind of went for it, and it was at the Papago Park. Like if you go around it, a certain trail, it's like 3 miles. And yeah, like that first mile was kind of like I could feel my physical lacking, but then the rest was just like you just gotta push yourself to keep going. And obviously, 3 miles to 26 miles is no comparison. But for my physical like where I'm at now, like I was like, man, that was tough.
Oh man, you should see like the marathon, it gets boring. Like the shorter runs, you see more people. Like you see, I did the Diplo run
Mhm.
about a couple weeks ago, and it's only a 5K downtown. And you see people wearing like the Supreme Fox shirts with the goggles. Like it's cool, you know what I mean? Once you do the marathons and you're like a mile 18, like it's boring. Like you're on your own. Like, you know, you see people that are like really, really thin and tall, and you know they're running on
Struggling.
orthodox. No, it's crazy.
The-
Like they're running on orthodox, and it's like how are they running a 6 minute pace? You know what I mean? And you know, yeah, no, it's the longer the run is, like, you know, it tends to, you have to find something to, you know, to get you motivated and to keep going.
I
But it's
remember.
crazy. Oh, sorry,
No,
to
you're
cut
good,
you
bro.
off.
Go ahead.
So I usually run with music.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Oh no, you forgot your headphones.
No, I was running the marathon. I feel like that's why I was running like a 9 minute pace because I was listening to music.
Mm.
When I got to Billmore, my AirPods shut down.
Oh,
So I was like, oh
damn.
man, I'm on my own. You know what I mean?
What
No
mile
peso,
was that?
huh?
Like, what do you know? What mile it was?
Like 18.
Dang.
No more peso pluma. No
Yeah.
more YG. You
Now
know.
you're just whistling.
It was just
Making your way.
like, okay, now I gotta, you know, distract myself. You know what I mean? But
So you listen to Peso Pluma, bro?
yeah. I
Who?
think his music, I think it's very spiritual, man. If you like
Yeah.
really pay attention to what he says,
Mhm.
I know like his voice is a little raspy and he sings a lot, but I feel like there's a lot of meaning behind his music compared to like JOP and
Mhm.
Luis Edit. You know what I mean?
What is something interesting, bro, that maybe people don't know about you? For example, I've seen that you traveled a lot, which is cool. Like, what is your favorite place that you've gone to?
Paris, man. I'm a city boy, bro. I love to shop. Oh, I shop every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I have a day off, I'm constantly shopping. Whether it's OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, I'm going all the shops. You know, I'm going to thrift stores, the buy sell and trade stores, sneaker shops. That's what I do every
Dang.
day. Is I nonstop shop. You know what I mean? And my girl's like, stop buying stuff. You know what I mean? I have a pile of shoes in the laundry room, in my closet, in my bedroom, and like I don't store my shoes like in boxes or whatever. Cause I wear my stuff, you know,
Mhm.
and I wear it, you know, and I'm not, you know, I don't like cleaning shoes at my house because I don't want to put a dirty shoe on the sink. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
I If I do have good shoes and I need clean, I usually take them to the shop. But you know, I'm nonstop shopping and just finding, you know, stuff that, you know, I don't see people wear,
yeah. Mhm.
you know, and you know, just, you know, that's one thing people don't know, that I'm like nonstop. So when it comes to Paris and you're, you know, in, in downtown and you're seeing 4 Chanel stores, and you're seeing the first Chanel store in Paris.
Like, I gotta stop by.
You know what I mean? It's tight, and then it's cheaper than it is in the States.
Really?
Yeah, because all the
know.
stuff comes from, Italy. Everything's made over there. So, when it gets shipped over there, you're paying the fee. And then over there, when you buy something at the airport, they give you the tax back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I went, I bought my mom a Louis Vuitton bag, and I think it was like $1,600. And that same bag here was like $2,600. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just
$1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
That's
sister
like-
went to Italy, and she said the same thing. It was cheaper. That tariff tax.
Yeah, there you go.
It's cheaper here, or it's cheaper over there since it's from the.
Yeah, like a
Actual
Chanel bag
country.
here is like $10,000. Over there, you
Damn.
might get one for like $5,000. It's still a lot of money,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's the like the stuff I'm into and stuff like that.
You're not afraid of flights, bro? Of heights?
I am, but thug life, you know,
Because it's like 14 hours on the flight.
like 12. Yeah,
12.
yeah. And usually I wait for everybody to sit down, and if I see an empty row, I just go lay down. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
for real?
crazy.
Yeah, usually like not every, like when you go here to like New York, like usually the flights be packed, but when you go overseas, most of the time they're not that packed. So I usually just find a row and I'm like,
That's
I'm
crazy.
out.
I would think they would be packed, but
And those planes are way bigger than the ones that are like nationwide. Like
Yeah.
I think the nationwide ones be like maybe 2 rows of 3. I think the other ones be like 3 rows of 3.
dang,
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd be taking advantage of that.
that's crazy, bro.
I remember just going back to like the running. I remember so when I was in high school, I'd play soccer, but I wanted to challenge myself and just kind of help my conditioning out. So I went to cross country coach and asked if I could join. And then one of the guys, he's like, "Hey man, the way to get through this running, you just got to think about porn." And I'm like, "What?" Like that was the first time I had heard
That's
that.
crazy.
And I'm just like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, just." I'm like, I'm good, bro. You know, I'm a freshman in high school.
Your coach told you that?
No, one of the runners.
Okay.
He's like, look, man, the way to just get through this run, bro, just got to think about porn. I'm like, that's crazy. Freshman year, I go to church. Like that's crazy work, you know.
I mean,
I just thought it was funny, but
no, it is funny.
what would you
'cause-
think about when you're running? Like, are you your music? You know, you lost your headphones or your headbuds or whatever.
He's not thinking about that.
What do you are you thinking about the next taco? Like, are you hungry? What's going through your mind, bro?
Usually when it's hot, what I do remember vividly, when I was like, we used to run on the track for like conditioning stuff. It was thinking about a soda at the end. You know, like a Sprite, just because you're running, your mouth is dry. Now it's like, I've done therapies and stuff like that where I'm trying to unclog myself. And, we talk about the trauma, not, understand why certain stuff went the way it did. So when I run, I tend to, think about that stuff. And like, for example, I have nephews and nieces. I have a little nephew, his name's Alan, and he plays basketball. And when I run, I always, when it hurts to run, you know what I mean? And I always envision myself like I'm running for him. You know what I mean? Or my niece, I'm running for her. Or like I have visuals of like my little nephew being in class and, him doing his work and, a teacher reading his last name and be like, man, are you related to Edgar? You know what I mean? And, people putting the 2 and 2 like, yo, Edgar's into basketball. This is Alan. He's into basketball. He's really good. Like there's no way there's not, you know what I mean? So just stuff like that when I run that I, tend to connect myself with that gets me through the run. Back to what you were saying, I understand, why he told you that. Because, man, like, you're trying to, it's hard to, run and, you try to distract yourself. So I can see why,
Interesting.
something like that would, definitely help.
Do you keep a strict diet? My bad. Do you keep a strict diet, bro?
Nah, I'm a foodie, man. Nonstop, I cook a lot of steak at home. I try all kinds of method. And I like going out to restaurants and eating. You know what I mean? I definitely done like stop eating like chips and like candy and
Junk
stuff.
food.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But nah, I'm a foodie man.
So how do you like your steak, bro?
Medium.
Medium.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
nice.
That's the best way, man.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
can't do.
recently just got a cast iron.
Oh, okay,
Ooh.
You know what
nice.
I mean. So I just
Yeah.
been serving, every morning and every night, and and like there's time. I'm still the same way. I still think like if I go out to eat and a steak is $100, and it's like a ribeye, I just damn, I make this at home. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you
It's
do
the,
think that way, bro.
yeah,
Even though you, I mean,
yeah. Nah, I don't. People have this thing that I go out and nah. I only spend money on the stuff I like. Obviously food I do like, but I can make it at home.
mhm.
The stuff that I do pay for a lot is the stuff that I can make home, which is like, you know, sashimi, like raw pieces of fish. You know what I mean? That I'm not gonna fillet a fish, and you know what I mean.
Go
So
through all that.
so you'll catch me at Nobu a lot, like
Hey,
I was
okay.
I was gonna ask you what's your favorite restaurant locally.
Nobu for
Nobu?
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know why I like it. And it's crazy. Like I usually eat like big portions of food. Have you guys been to Nobu?
I've never been.
It's the one
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale Quarter, right?
Yeah. No, no, no. Fashion Square.
Fashion Square.
It's right by Toca Madera.
I think
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's
I've never been there.
Oh,
Sorry.
y'all should try it. You know what I mean? It's like little pieces of fish, and you eat a couple courses, and you're like, damn, I'm full.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it just puts a perspective of like, damn, I shouldn't really be eating all like the big portions I do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But nah, Noble's good.
I'll have to try it out. Two spots, bro, that you would recommend to people coming from outside of Arizona. Your favorite taco spot
Ooh.
and your favorite steakhouse. I know you can cook them yourself. But for this situation, it's
favorite
not your
taco
house.
spot, Tacarbon.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes, I'm so glad you said that.
That that one's like people can say whatever they want, and I respect everybody, and I eat tacos everywhere else. But Tacarbon is like, if you order and you're eating, you're like, man, I want to get up and order more.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Can't beat it.
Steakhouse, ooh, that's a good one. I probably would have to go with probably Bacanora or Huaraches. You know what I mean? Bacanora, they have the ribeye plate, and they
Mhm.
have like quesadillas, like chiles, grilled onions, beans with salsa, cheese, and cilantro. You know what I mean? They have the same plate at Huaraches too. You know what I mean? But
sounds good.
no, it's fire.
You're making me hungry, bro.
Man, it's good, man. It's good.
What's your morning routine, bro? What does that look like?
It depends, man. When I have my kids, I wake up like 6 a.m. Wake up my oldest about 6:30, get him ready. I recently bought him. He likes Batman, so I was at Zara, so I seen a little Batman cologne for kids. So I spray him, like put oil in his hair, and as soon as we get in the car, play Michael Jackson, just because like I want to show him like the people that are great in life, and why, and I want him to have this little Michael Jackson era of like, oh, I want to dance, and I want to be this for Halloween, and I usually get him French toast, and an orange juice right here at Burger King,
Mm-hmm.
just like me and my oldest, time, and walk him to class, sign him in, come back home, and usually my youngest is already up. I get there, and me and him have alone time. My girl gets up, she gets ready for work. I have like an hour or two with my youngest, and then I have to go pick up my oldest from school, and then we just kick it at the house. People think I'm out and about with my kids, but I want to board them out. I want them to know that I don't always have to be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
We come from an era where kids get out of school and they have piano practice and martial arts and soccer practice, and these kids never get that kind of break.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to be able to be like, okay, I don't have to be busy all the time. I can be myself. If I want to play with Legos, I can play with Legos. I just want them to be kids at the end of the day, and when it's time for them to grow up, them seeing me run, them seeing me be in business this long is what I want them to be like, damn, that's tight, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, then when you ask me for help, then I can do it. But for right now, it's just like
Just be kids.
yeah. But yeah, that's when I have my kids. When I don't have my kids, I get up, I go run. I usually have a coffee date with my fiance. Then I work, and then I get out at 8. And then if I'm not cooking, then we'll go, small date. You know what I mean? But it's like for me, it's like I'm always have to do something, and I don't want my kids to be like that.
With your with your faith, bro, how important is it for you being a businessman to kind of include your faith?
Well, like I said earlier, I was raised in, with my parents going to church, so I knew who Jesus Christ or God was in the beginning, and that's honestly, man, like I always say, like I'm God's son, and I feel like I'm God's favorite. I've been in a lot of situations where, younger I would be super stressed out, and now I just kind of shake it off because I know, like, man, if something's going on, I know it's gonna get better from here. You know what I mean? That way, when it's going good for me, I'm like, all right, I gotta chill out. You know what I mean? I gotta chill out because if I'm feeling up, then something's gonna something's gonna turn. But yeah, just knowing that He's always been here, and knowing that from how I was raised and how I came, and for it to work out, just keeping that and just letting the ball roll a little bit and just being on cruise control a little bit and taking care of what's important and putting the stuff that's not important a little bit to the side, but also staying well balanced and still having fun, but still putting in the work.
Hey, man. What church do you go to, bro?
With church, right now I don't really go to a church like consistently, but my mother-in-law goes to a church called Pura Vida in Mesa or in Chandler. So when we do go over there, we usually, I usually run on Sunday, my long runs, come back, get ready, and then we'll head over there.
Is it a Christian church?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, that's cool. We both grew up in church. You did too. That's cool.
And I like the short churches where it's get in,
straight to the point.
Yeah. My parents like to go to churches where they're singing for an hour, and then the preach is like 3 hours, and it's like a 4-hour church.
Yeah. You could kind of say we're still part of a culture like that. My church has gotten way better about that, but I know what you mean. It's just the way some people get down,
Yeah.
So do you make your coffee, or do you go to?
No, I like supporting small businesses.
What's your go-to coffee shop? Shout them out.
I feel like I can answer one, bro, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
All right, go ahead.
Crete.
Good.
You go to Crete?
Good. Yes.
Lux.
I go there, but I don't know, man. I feel like I'm ordering the wrong things.
Okay.
I'm a Lola guy.
You're Lola. Okay.
Yeah, downtown.
Can't go wrong with Lola, man.
Nah, I usually get the caramel latte, oat milk, and then cinnamon on top.
That's the coffee order, folks.
Yeah, Lola. I got a homie that runs Cortado on 67th and Encano out of his house. That one's really good. Pho 43 has Vietnamese coffee that's really good. People don't know they sell coffee there.
Shout out to 43.
Yeah. You been there?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've been there.
Oh man, you have you been there?
Yeah, I have.
Where's it
good?
at?
43rd and Thomas. It's like a white and pink building.
I've heard about it. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, they sell Thai tea, Vietnamese coffee, pina colada, pineapple smoothies. Man, there's a gang of drinks they sell in there. People don't even know.
Wait, did they shut down at one point? Is that the same spot? Okay, yeah. I think I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, they shut down for a little bit.
Yeah, because me and my wife, bro, we love pho. Like, we go almost try.
And I'm not even a pho guy. No? I started going there, and I'm like, oh, man, this is good. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. I feel like I'm learning so much about Edgar. I'm just like, dang, that's crazy. That's good, bro.
Yeah, so, like, my day off, coffee, pho, maybe mariscos. I go to Todo Mar. Have you guys been to Todo Mar?
Best. Shout out Todo Mar. Best.
Yeah, shout out to Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge.
83rd and Lower Buckeye. It's fire, man. Yeah. There's times where I'm like, I'll go to pho, do like a whole shift there, and then go to... Yeah, because it's cool. You know what I mean? It's like vibes. A vibe, bro. It's tight. Yeah. You go in there, kick it, And then after that, then we all go to Tolomar and do another shift there, and it's
What do you
cool.
get at the Lamar, bro?
Cucarachas, botana seca,
Oh,
and if they have oysters. You know what I
I
mean?
get the botana at the Lamar. I think it's bomb.
It is good. The thing for me is the sodium on the botana Tolomar. I
You
don't know
feel it.
why. Like even micheladas, I can't drink those. I got to be like not enough, like not a lot of sodium. But that one's good too. They're all fire. Have you been there?
I've never been there. Honestly, I stick to what I know, and I've been going to the same spot for the longest now. Is Mariscos Chihuahua on 15th Ave in
Indian school?
Indian School.
That
Yeah,
one place is good too.
yeah. I hate how small it is, but it is what it is. Like, and sometimes you got the banda and the
Just what I was gonna say. That's my least favorite part.
That's not how it sounds, but
Yeah, and they got a bunch of music.
It's
in there.
good. When I leave work early, shit, right there. Another good one too is El Güero.
Little Mariscos
El Güero?
Silva.
Yeah.
oh, they used to be on Grand, right?
Yeah, $25 for man. Dang.
Yeah. Where are they at now? Because they
15th Ave in Van Buren,
okay.
right by the Dragon Box. And then there's a Tolleson location right here on like 95th in Van Buren.
I need to go. Yeah, because I used to go to the one that on Grand because it was by my church, so I'd go there like on Sundays. But they cleared that spot out. There's
Yeah,
like no
nah.
more joints there, bro.
You said no more drugs there?
No more joints. Like,
Like-
there was a lot of like mariscos, tacos. I wouldn't really go there, but just for the marisco del güero.
That's Abe's go-to Dutch Bros drink, by the way.
Yeah, if it's
What is it, Mountain Dew?
no,
I don't
it's
know.
like
Rebel?
yeah, it's a rebel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, are you into rebels or no?
Yeah, it's cool.
You might want to stir it a little bit. All the sugar goes to the bottom.
I usually don't go to Dutch at all.
Oh yeah,
You're a Starbucks guy?
I'm not a Starbucks guy. I used to go to Starbucks. And then I started going
Because the way I compare it is like if I want something fun or like if I want to try something different, I'll go to Dutch. But if I want like serious like coffee, I go to Starbucks just if I need something quick.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like
If
I
you're-
like to support local businesses as well, but like Cafecito Pecas, I don't know if you've had them, but they're pretty good, and I think it's a local like food truck. But if I'm in a rush,
You go by yourself?
no, I'll go with my wife sometimes. Yeah, but
No, yeah. We had them at Heated Soul. Good people.
yeah?
They're busy. The following is crazy. Yeah.
how was Heated Soul? Huh?
It was good, man. It was tight. I feel like I bring a different kind of
dynamic.
Yes, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
You see my Mexican. I feel like I bring something different to the table. And then we have our next show is February of next year when the All-Star game is here, so it'll be the same weekend downtown.
And they announced it, huh? It's gonna be here.
Yeah. We had booked that last year.
Yeah.
So he just
So
saw the
you,
next
so you guys get like first dibs, kind of like on the as far as like you guys are already booked there in the area, so you're gonna be right there. So hopefully you get some
So,
good connections through that.
property manager went to Borgade where
Oh, okay.
where we talked about earlier. So, that's kind of like a connect, and we did the show there. After we did the show there, man, I've seen everybody do like vintage events, shoe events. There's a farmer's market now, you know what I mean?
Nice,
So I just
okay.
felt like,
Bro, I have to ask you, where do you get all your vintage, bro? Like I see your pieces and I'm like, dude, this is stuff that was even before my time that I'm like, how does he even get this?
a lot of stuff was gifts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is gifts. A lot of the stuff I would buy, and at the time people thought it was expensive. And 10 years later, it's like you can't find this. Like I have a bootleg rap shirt, and the bootleg rap shirts are like the vintage tees that are like crazy with different colors that are like bootleg that you used to sell at the swap meet. Pardon me, but you can't find them more because they're bootleg. There's no manufacturer. There's no company. And I was at Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and I bought a Laker one, a 2001, for $120. At the time it was like, damn, that's expensive. Obviously Kobe ends up passing, and the Lakers win in 2020, and that shirt goes from $120 to $800. And now my friend's asking me, same friend that was like, damn, that's expensive, the same friend is like, hey man, let me get that. You know what I mean? So it's just like going back to buying what you like.
Yeah.
You can't really put a price on something you like. And for I want to say like 4 or 5 years, everything that we were buying, everything that we were into, it was the stuff we were selling. Obviously, we sell a lot of basketball stuff. You know, the during COVID, the Jordans went up in price because of the documentary. So
Mm-hmm.
shoes we were selling for 150 were $400 or $500.
Jeez.
The following year, the Lakers won the championship. We had a bunch of Lakers stuff. The following year, the Suns go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We have a bunch of
we
Suns
have a
stuff.
bunch of Sun stuff. So it was like just hitting markets at the right time.
That's good.
And yeah, a lot of that stuff we put into real. I thought you did real estate.
Me, no.
No, not at all.
No.
You do videos for real
I do
estate agents.
videos for some realtors,
okay.
and I try to get connected with some realtors, but yeah. That's,
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the money we made during COVID, we put into real estate.
so
Is
there-
it hard not to rock your merchandise, bro? For example, if you have like something that's popping right now, let's just say it's just some the twos. For maybe you're not into twos, but it start popping like, and you have some in your store. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna wear those. Is it hard to not?
Yes
rock
and
yourself?
no. Like I don't know about the twos. I don't know
Right.
if that was a good example.
Yeah, not the twos.
But
But
like
we'll
a
just say
tra-
fours.
yeah. Let's just say like a Travis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
say the fragment 2.0s,
I
right?
want those so
Me
bad,
too.
bro.
Me too. So let's say we get a pair in, right? Is my size. I won't take it.
No.
Nah, cause it's like, it's for the business. But let's say we get like 6 pairs in, and one of them is my size, then I'll take it. Then you know
Yeah.
what I mean. So that in that aspect, I would take a pair home.
Okay.
And is
'Cause-
that something you take an L on, or is it something that you out of your personal account you pay to the business?
Well,
Like if you see
either
a shoe,
or.
either or.
Yeah.
Okay.
So normally I would get it under market. So
Oh, yeah.
even me buying it is still cheaper than buying it from somebody else.
Yeah.
for sure.
But I still lose. Let's just say it goes for $1,000 and I get it for 8. I still lose the $800. But yeah, no, it depends. Depends. If I'm in, most of the time I'm overpaying on taxes because I always want to get a loan out. And sometimes, I'm not in the buying mode, so I usually just do my taxes regular. But
Mhm.
yeah, most of the time I'm like overpaying on taxes.
I have a question for you, bro. In general, what would you say is Azthread's biggest fear? What's your biggest fear, bro?
Me.
You?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I have bad habits.
Mm.
I like to, be self-centered a lot of the times. I don't always make the best decisions. As if I've made the best decisions, there would be no room for growth.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, because I'm 100% control of everything. I think my way is always the right way. So I think me for sure.
Yeah, because it's kind of similar for me. Like, I told my wife, like, that's why I wanted to jump into business because I didn't want to have that regret and be 60, 65, 70 and be like, dang, like, I never tried it or I never went, all in. So I guess kind of similar, like myself, or doubting myself or not taking the chance on myself, and
Yeah.
trying to make it.
And then a lot of the times, a lot of the stuff that I do buy usually are good investments for the most part. Besides the restaurant stuff, the stuff I buy usually, for the most part, I can get my money back. If not, take a little less. If not, make some money on it. But for the most part, everything I buy is usually stuff that is very lucrative.
So like, I know you have connects, like whatever shoe you wanted to get right now. Let's just say it's something, the Octobers or Christian Dior's, which I don't think those are hard to get, but like one of those unique shoes, you could get it right now if you wanted to.
I mean,
Any shoe. Maybe not any shoe, right? Because there's some that like it's one of one, right?
Mhm.
But
let's just say I woke up one day and I wanted a pair of red bottoms. Like,
sure, yeah, red bottoms or Or
well, in that aspect, I think I could just buy it.
Go to the store and buy it.
Yeah. As far as like calling somebody and looking for it, I'm usually that guy.
Mm.
You know what I
okay.
mean?
People are calling you.
Yeah, and I usually cool with a lot of, you know, pages and shoe groups and stuff like that. So usually people hit me up, hey, I'm looking for this. I need this. I'm getting married. I need a Chris Paul Jordan 1 low, the white one. You know what I mean? All right, I think I know a couple people that might have it. But as far as for me, for the most part, right nowadays, it's just buying it. You know what I mean? Am I going to go buy a Travis Scott 4 that's like $20,000? No.
No.
You know what I mean? I just say, and you know, yeah, I just, you know, because I shop all the time, I know, you know, where stuff can be at. If I want like a Air Max 1, you know, red and white from the anniversary from 2019, you know, usually it's like eBay. If I want something that's like a collab, you know, usually message stores in LA and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's usually just, you know, just because I'm, you know, always on my phone looking at stuff, usually I can kind of, you know, see where it's going to be at. If it's like general release stuff, usually like StockX, Go, and stuff like that, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, if I am looking for something and I know it's on StockX, I usually, you know, be trying to find it a lot cheaper.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So,
Like if you want to, if let's just say that I'm like, hey man, can you give me those orange Bookers? Because I feel like it's hard to get those. You could get those.
the first ones?
Yeah, the orange ones.
Yeah. Well, because they're recent, that stuff you can just buy online. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Like
they cost
Go.
$3,500.
That's crazy.
No, you know what I mean? 25 or whatever it is. But like even local, if somebody had it local, you're still gonna be paying.
They're
You know
gonna
what I
tax you.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like he only made like very few of
I
those.
think it
right?
was like 500 pairs or something like that. But yeah, stuff like that. You know, if it's online for a while, you're gonna pay. You know, in real time, you're gonna pay a lot. Now, if you wanted something the same day, you know, usually I don't do the groundwork like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you ask me for something, you better give me a couple weeks because even if I buy it online, you know, I'm not gonna get it in the mail and then drive to you and drop it off.
Yeah, you
know
got a
what I mean?
business to run.
You know what I mean? On top of that, like nowadays, because I'm like be with my kids a lot, it's a struggle to get to the shop. So you know, to find something day of and you know what I mean. Unless I like it's recent, then you know it's kind of impossible.
And like kind of as we get ready to wrap up here, bro. Obviously, like you're well off. You know what I mean. I'm not gonna ask you to put a number out there of like how much you've made in your life, but I would say you're well off. What kind of message would you say to those people who, like maybe there's a younger guy watching, right? We have a different audience, right? Of both women, mixed women and men, who maybe like they're at the beginning, bro, and they want to start their business. Because at least for me, with my business, I always am looking for people to teach, mentor, help out. If they're interested, they like camera work. I try my best to invest in them a little bit of time or whatever. But what would you say to those people who maybe you're like are at the beginning, or maybe they're just reselling shoes, or maybe they're into shoes a little bit and they maybe want to be where you're at, or further. They may want to have 10 stores in Arizona, or I don't know, 30 or nationwide. But what piece of advice would you give to them, bro?
I would definitely tell them you have to put the time in, and you're gonna be underpaid, and it's okay to be underpaid because you're eventually gonna be overpaid. And a perfect example is like my dad. We got here. He's a handyman, so he's done landscaping. He's done side jobs, and he's always been underpaid. My mom would be like, "Man, why are you charging $50 to do a yard?" But just like you know, putting in the work and being underpaid, now he works as a contractor. You know, under somebody, and he works 2-3 hours, and you know he gets paid like a contractor. And to this day, I feel like I'm underpaid. I feel like I've you know put in you know my 10,000 hours of work, and you know obviously the market dips and the economy is not where it is, and you know everything has taken a step back. And for me, I just keep grinding. You know what I mean? And for me, is you know it's not if I'm well off today or whatever. For me, it's like I have to work regardless. Even if I was well off, you know, you see the people that are well off, they're still working. You see somebody like Kim Kardashian, and these are just big names that we see, you know,
Right.
we visually see, you know, she was big already, and look at her now. Skims is working with Nike and the NBA.
And she's still working.
You know what I mean? Kanye at the top, Yeezy becoming a billionaire company, still, I think he had a concert in Mexico with like
Mm-hmm.
40,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the next 2 days he had a pop up with the Yeezy stuff. And
Yeah.
then he dropped Yeezy sandals on his site. And for me it's just, I'm gonna keep working until the value kind of flips.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then, I could take a little bit more time away from work to be more with my family and stuff like that. Because I do plan on having more kids.
Yeah. How many
Yeah.
more?
Probably two more.
Two more.
I'll be fine with two little girls.
Hey.
I got my two little boys, and those dudes be wrestling. They be wrestling all day. Every time I see them, they're like flipping each other, and But yeah, just work, and you're gonna be underpaid, and it's okay. And before you know it, you'll be getting paid for the time you put in, and it's gonna all work out.
I think that's so important because in my line of business, there's sometimes that people hit me up like, hey, like I want a wedding, but like I'm in a tight budget. And for me, it's like it's not just the work of going the day of the wedding, but then it's editing everything, and that takes hours too. And there's sometimes that I'm like, well, ni modo, I'll take the gig, even if it's not what I would be regularly paid. But you never know who you're gonna meet, and a lot of those times in those weddings, I'll meet people who bring me more business. Or a lot of the times in those events that I go, that for example, if an artist comes and they're like, hey, like we need a videographer, I'll go. A lot of the times it's not paid, but you get to meet the manager of that influencer or the manager of that artist, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna use you because you were chill, or you did a good job. Or so I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I definitely appreciate that. Abe, any final comments here, bro? Any?
Honestly, man, I like what you said. It's a constant grind, and any business you're in. And I like that you said that. Like, even when you make it, you're not done. Like, you got to keep on working, and that could be physical work or mental work. I want to say there's some physical work that you're doing, but a lot of your game is mental, like making sure that you're making the right move,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot of the business nowadays, right? Where you're needing to make the right moves so you can succeed and prosper and make money, and you're also trying to expand your business and feed people that are working with you for you. So the grind never stops, right? It's either physical or
Mm-hmm.
mental. But yeah, man, that was cool. We think what you brought today was different than what we're used to. Um, and I got to like I bought shoes from you, and I think the store owner Edgar and the Edgar here is the same, but just a different aspect of you,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool to get a little more info about you. But we do definitely appreciate you making the time, man. It's been an hour and a half and
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little more, but that's cool, man. Thank you for that. We,
No,
we do
thank you guys
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Thank you for your time, bro. And any final comments?
Yeah,
That you have?
this is what, like, people that know me outside of work, like, this is what they get. People at work, like, I don't know if you guys been to like a restaurant, and sometimes you'd be like, damn, the service wasn't that good, or like the food wasn't that good, and we just don't ever know what people are going through.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
but this is what I tell people: like, if you know me, you know me outside of work and stuff like that. And that's why my I feel like my brand is established because I have people that do stand up and stick up for me and be like, what? No, I know that dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he might be a little wild, or he might be a little outcast, but at the end of the day, he don't I don't mean no harm. And I the goal is to get better. And if we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna say things, and we're gonna rub people the wrong way, but if we take those lessons and get better, then we
Yeah,
it makes changes. You know what I
For
mean?
sure, bro.
sure.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Azthread, it was an honor, bro. I really appreciate you for being on here, and for taking the time and just feeding into us, not just us, but our viewers that we appreciate. Like I told you, we're just starting off episode 4, so I do appreciate you for even considering it, bro, and being here. And I know, like I don't want people to think that you're um not humble, but I mean it shows to give somebody who's starting off like a chance, like that's huge for us. So thank you, bro.
Yeah, real quick, can you give us your ads for the people that don't follow you so they can check your story out on Instagram?
AZ Thread on Instagram, AZ Thread on Facebook, AZ Thread on Twitter, AZ Thread Uptown on TikTok. So
And
check
AZ,
us out.
and Google.
And Google. Yeah.
show up to the shop.
Google Home.
What's the store hours, bro?
12 to 8 Monday through Saturday, 12 to 6 on Sunday. Central and Camelback. Buy, sell, and trade. We're always buying. Check
Yes,
us out.
sir. All right, that's it. Thank you
That's it.
guys. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Later.